everybody, and welcome to this week's CTech Plus and Plus Hour here on Chaos TV. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, this week we are celebrating National Apprenticeship Week, and the theme this year is Skills for Life. Today we are going to hear from an award-winning apprentice. We are also going to have a myth-busting session with the National Careers Service. But first, we are going to find out more about the kind of apprenticeships that can be found within the public sector. So I would like to kick things off by saying a big welcome to Sally from HMCTS and Nicole from the Ministry of Justice. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Brilliant stuff.
Good, thank you. And thanks for having us.
Anytime. So Sally, if we can kick things off with you.
Yeah.
You are the apprenticeship manager for HMCTS's Learning and Development team.
I am, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit, what does this involve? It would just be great to hear more about what HMCTS is.
Yeah, HMCTS is His Majesty's Courts and Tribunals Service. So basically we look after all the crime, civil, family courts and tribunals across the UK. We have an independent judiciary to make sure that there's fair access to justice. And we have over 17,000 employees that we support. So it's all about supporting public to get access to justice. So my role as the apprenticeship manager is to look after the training providers and make sure that we're giving the best possible service to our learners. So no 2 days are the same. That's what I love about the job. I get to interact with some amazing people across organisations and support them to get the qualifications and the skill for life. One of the things that I love most about the job is when people complete and how excited they are, and we celebrate with them. So that's absolutely fantastic.
I love that. That sounds like a very exciting job role for you there.
Yeah, I love it.
Love it. Nicole, thank you as well for joining us today. I want to bring you into the conversation. What is a capability consultant?
Thank you. So a capability consultant is someone who looks at what we can do to provide learning development right across Ministry of Justice. And that's looking at improving what skills you already have. It's looking at giving people new skills, new training, and part of that encompasses apprenticeships. It's all about providing qualifications where we can and looking at supporting the business to make our staff the best that they can be, regardless of what role they're in, what grade they're in, and what qualifications they have or not already have.
Brilliant. And Sally, can you tell us a little bit more about the apprenticeship opportunities that are available sort of within the public service?
Yeah, I mean, for HMCTS alone, we have over 36 different apprenticeships. So we do business admin, customer service, there's legal ones, there's HR, there's team leaders, there's data and digital. There's so many that I really feel that there's something out there for everybody. MOJ have some slightly different ones. They have ones suitable for the prison service, etc. But there's such a wide variety. And as long as it matches with your job, there will be something out there for you. And I think that's fantastic. We also have operational delivery pilot, which we're running at the moment, which is for people that can't do an apprenticeship. Say if they're on a fixed contract that doesn't match the length of the apprenticeship, there's still other qualifications for them to do within the learning, which again, I think is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and it's great that there's so much variety out there, isn't there?
Definitely.
And Nicole, what about your experience within apprenticeships? How has that been? Would you say it's been a positive one?
Absolutely. The apprenticeships, what's on offer is phenomenal. So being in the job role for less than a year, I couldn't believe what we've actually got right across all our professions, and things like business administration open to everybody, and for senior leaders as well. There is actually something for everybody, and I think for us that's a real positive, because it doesn't matter what job role you're in, what grade you're in, what you aspire to be, there is something that will help you with that career. And apprenticeship is giving you a qualification for doing your job at the end of the day. So you're getting accredited for doing your job role, and that's only the best thing. That's a great positive thing, because you're getting that recognition. boost your morale. If you're looking for a career progression, that's all positive too. And bringing people into apprenticeships, it's given a qualification to help you embed and learn a new job role too. So I would say very positive. I'm very, very passionate about it. I think it's a, for a qualification that you can get for free at the end of the day, it's worth thousands of pounds. Why would you not get one and do one and do more? I mean, we see people all the time, Ministry of Justice, that are on the third, fourth one. They've got that bug and they just keep on going up the next levels. It's fantastic.
It's great to hear that it's such a positive thing. And yeah, it sounds like a win-win, to be honest, doesn't it? Sally, I'm interested to know your thoughts as well. Obviously, it's National Apprenticeship Week this week. I imagine it's quite a busy week for you.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I'm like Nicole. I've only been in this job for sort of 6 months. Before that, I've done 26 years in HMCTS in operations. So yeah, the build-up and the planning, we started that early last year. Nicole and I have been flat out for the last few weeks finalising things. But it's helped me as well. It's helped me develop my skills and my confidence in presenting and things like that. The session I've done this morning was all about the history of apprenticeships, which I absolutely loved, finding out that things actually haven't changed that much in some aspects of it. Kind of like maths and English was still a requirement back in the 1700s, the reading, the writing and the arithmetic. But other conditions such as how apprentices work with the 12-hour shifts, etc., have really changed. So that's been brilliant for me to do this week. But yeah, we've got a jam-packed week still to go, and I'm absolutely loving it, to be honest. It's been brilliant.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Keeping you busy, that's for sure. That's
Very
what we like to
busy.
see. And Nicole, would you say apprenticeships are a benefit to increasing social mobility?
Absolutely. So one of my projects that I'm working on just now is looking at identifying areas where we do have a lower socioeconomic background, where we're bringing in people that maybe haven't finished school or went to college, that maybe don't have GCSEs in maths and English from no fault of their own. So what we're working on is being able to offer programs for apprenticeships to everybody, and having them coming into government or private sector, doesn't matter where that is bringing people in to work and get a qualification for doing that too. And I'm actually a social mobility ambassador where I work as well, so I know what's going across the country, private and public, as I say, to bring people in regardless of what you do, and making it an easier application process for people to come in and apply and get a job with government is fantastic. But it's it shouldn't be in this day and age where we have got people that have got went to university that are getting all the big jobs. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be qualified in 8 or 9 subjects to do a job in Ministry of Justice. You don't. So it's building up people's qualifications. It's bringing people in that have got that talent and enthusiasm. You can't buy that. You can't buy people's enthusiasm and willingness to learn and grow. And that's what I think is really exciting about what we're trying to do across government and in the private sector, to make it fair for all. It doesn't matter where you were 5 years ago. It's what matters now.
Exactly. I love that. What a positive message to end on as well. Fantastic. It's great that we have these awareness weeks as well, just to sort of promote this, which is great. Sally, Nicole, thank you so much to both of you for joining us today to talk more about all the opportunities available through apprenticeships. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Now, my next guest, we are going to be joined by Rebecca Nash from Public Services at CTEC Outsource. Rebecca, hello. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us today. Could you start off by telling us a little bit about your role with CTEC Outsource?
Yeah, it'd be a pleasure to do that. So I'm Rebecca Nash. I'm what they call a head of public services. And what we've got at CTEC Outsource is a dedicated team to public service. You've just met 2 amazing people I've been working with recently to try and pick up their internal apprenticeship provision, which is Nicole and Sally from MOJ. And that's the type of thing I look to do with our provision. We look to immobilise contracts, which are for public service clients across the UK, and that can be civil service and also other public service establishments like councils, housing associations, and many more, welfare to work as well, which is what we are experts in at CTEC.
Amazing. So definitely a well-varied job there as well. Brilliant stuff. Can you tell us about some of the careers available as well within the public sector and how CTEC Outsource can support people with this?
Yeah, definitely. So again, within my provision, we do have some amazing apprenticeship development coaches that look after many civil service learners who are across various departments. So recruitment, we can support both into civil service learning, but also into CTEC as well. But we do have, as Sally and Nicole have touched on, various department experts, such as business admin pathways for apprenticeships, customer service pathways, again, senior leadership and team leader pathways roles as well. So we are looking to support various departments on their recruitment strategy. And I'm lucky enough to have a dedicated team of professional assessors who support these public service clients across the UK as well.
Brilliant stuff. And can you tell us more about the Employability Practitioner Apprenticeship programme with CTEC Outsource?
Definitely, I'm very passionate about this at the moment, to be fair. I'm very excited to voice about this also. It's a qualification that has been released and not yet had an art rate because it's so new. But what the qualification's about is about thinking about blended theory and practices and approaches and employability. And for me, it's about making sure that our frontline staff are professionals in what they do. There's a lot of complex conversations that our frontline staff do on a daily basis. And the Employability Practitioner Level 4 looks to give them that extra acknowledgement to all the hard work that goes on a daily basis and gives them the kudos and accreditation for doing that as well. So again, it's something for me to be blended across various areas. Any work coaches that are looking to get a dedicated qualification, the employability practitioner is a great choice for them, and it really does give them the acknowledgement to the complex conversations that happen daily in what they do. For me, every single conversation as a work coach is definitely not planned. It's about expecting the unexpected. And what we're really trying to do is give individuals the sort of considerations and perspectives and tools really to select from when having them daily conversations with people they work with.
Brilliant. I love the passion there as well coming through. It must be a really rewarding job role. So Rebecca, thank you so much for sharing all that information with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No worries. Now I believe we have a short video to play for you now. Now, the National Careers Service is another service that can support people who are interested in apprenticeships. People might think that an apprenticeship isn't an option for them, but Jill from the National Careers Service came here to Chaos to do a bit of myth-busting session with Henry to set the record straight. Let's take a look.
Hi Jill, welcome to Chaos. The theme for National Apprenticeship this year, is Skills for Life, and that's really what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's setting people up for the future. So as we know, very interesting times we live in, and people need to kind of look at what the careers of the future might be. So me and my team will look at where the trends are. So there's all kinds of jobs which are new coming onto the market, and there are sort of jobs that are kind of fading away now. So we don't see that many people who want to go into mining, for example, but a lot of people want to go into media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think apprenticeship's such an alternative way of learning. It's that hands-on education more so, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, I mean, most apprenticeships depend. There's all kinds of levels, which we'll probably cover in another question. But so most apprenticeships have a mix of theory and practical. So depends on which level as to how much theory and how much practical. But yeah, it's that kind of nice way of learning. So most people learn by doing, rather than sitting in a classroom and reading textbooks and revising and all those kinds of things. But when you actually physically do an activity or learn something by looking at a picture or working with a model, then that's how people learn best. So it's actually a quicker way of learning for most people.
Mentioning on the skills for life aspect of it there as well, I think with that apprenticeship you learn so much more than just the academia of the paperwork in front of you. It's that human interaction, it's that basic level of being in a workplace, which are skills for life.
Absolutely. If you could sort of do the compare and contrast bit to traditional education, you're probably sat in a classroom with people very similar to you. So you're not really learning anything off those. But if you're in a workplace with people of all kinds of ages and experiences and all nationalities and languages, you're picking up all of those life skills as well. So you're not just picking up your career, you're also learning how to interact with all kinds of other people, which I think is really important.
And like you say, these carry all the way through with life. I'm looking forward to looking at some myth busting now.
Fantastic.
I must say, I was a bit excited. I thought, what we're going to talk about unicorns, leprechauns. What sort of myths are we discussing here? But no, these are myth busting when it comes to apprenticeships. So I'm looking forward to looking at these.
Absolutely.
So myth number one is apprenticeships are only for young people. What have you got to say about that?
Absolutely not. So apprenticeships were that a very long time back in the day, as young people say. So apprenticeships are for anybody of working age. So you could have had a career or two careers in different industries and think, well, I fancy doing something else. What can I do? How can I do it? How can I learn something without giving up a salary? Apprenticeships is the thing.
What sort of what's the average length of an apprenticeship in the sense of how time scale here?
It varies very much. So there are sort of minimum lengths. So you couldn't do an apprenticeship in 2 weeks, for example. So most apprenticeships sort of minimum 12 months. If you're going up to a level 7, then that could take a couple of years. So
Still not long though, is it?
Oh, absolutely. You know, in comparison to going into further education, higher education, staying on and doing a master's, if you think how long that would take, it's usually a lot longer.
Absolutely. So it's almost a quicker way of doing these
It
things.
is,
So almost
in many
better
ways,
off doing it later in life, doing an apprenticeship in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can, depending on the employer you work with, they can kind of stagger it. So you might decide to do level 2 and then move on to level 3 and so on and so forth.
What works for the individual.
So there's all kinds of different ways. And that's another beauty of the apprenticeship. There isn't a formula in many ways. So you can kind of do bits as suit you and your employer that you're working with. So you can kind of add bits in.
Myth number one, busted. Officially busted. Number 2, only manual sectors offer apprenticeships.
Absolutely not. So you can do an apprenticeship in pretty much any industry you can think of. So traditional ones are people are talking a lot about the skill shortages in industries such as plumbing and electrics and all those kinds of things. Absolutely. But any industry from sort of retail, customer service, creatives, so you can do apprenticeships in those, medicine, law, any industry you can think of pretty much has an apprenticeship attached to it. And some organisations, if they don't have one written, will go ahead and kind of source that training and that apprenticeship lead as well. So it's a moving feast.
I think it makes perfect sense that it's that way, really, after you've said about the variety of apprenticeships on offer there, that, of course, it's going to be, in that sense, that mixture, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's kind of responding to the needs. So society's changing, the work-life balance is changing, new industries are coming on, etc. So we have to kind of move with the times. So it's not one of those old-fashioned things where you just keep churning out the same old. It's very responsive to what's needed in the job market.
Which is
and
great.
it's something that it's employer-led as well. So it's not like you go to college, learn to do something one way, and then when you go into employment, the employer says, well, we don't do it that way, and you end up having to retrain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way of keeping it current as well. And like you say, if you're in that apprenticeship, you're working at ground level there, aren't you?
Absolutely. So you get the best of both worlds. So you get the practical and the theory.
Yeah, right. Busted. Myth.
Good.
We are busting these myths.
We're ticking them off, aren't we?
So, myth number 3, apprenticeships have no value for your career prospects.
No, absolute rubbish. So you get exactly the same qualification. Again, compare and contrast. You get exactly the same qualification as if you were going to a traditional college or a university. There is no difference. In fact, in some cases, you'll see the same tutors. So colleges college tutors sometimes send the assessors out to the business environment, so it'll be the same one delivering the same subject, either in the premises or on site.
What's the difference in the two sort of qualifications at the end, or the varying qualifications in that sense? There really isn't.
There absolutely isn't. As I say, it's kind of how you best learn. So if you're a kind of person who responds very well to being in a classroom situation, then perhaps you might want to think about doing a sort of traditional route, so studying and then finding work. But if you like that mix, and if you like sort of being with people and learning in a practical way, then the employment environment might be best suited to you.
Again, it's on the individual
Absolutely.
basis.
So you've got
how they
choices.
learn. Yeah. Oh, we like choices, right? I've dispelled that myth now. So, apprenticeships don't offer great qualifications. See, so we've just touched on this.
Yeah. No, as I say, so we go from level 2 up to level 7. So you can do anything in between those. So absolutely any subject, pretty much any level, it's all there for you. So you can take your pick.
I like the levels of it as well. Like you say, again, it's just more options.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So education and training and the workplace have all changed, and it's really encouraging to see that employers are taking this on. The schools promoting these a bit more now. So it's really good that people are taking notice to the possibility of doing an apprenticeship, and not just school and education leavers, also people, as I say, who are in employment and might want to further their career options. And people wanted to change careers. So a lot of people have kind of think, well, I've had enough of doing that job. Perhaps they've been made redundant and they want to try something new.
It's a great way of retraining in that sense, isn't it? And it doesn't cross your mind because, like you say, I think there's that very basic myth that we touched on at the start there of it being for young people, and you think it's the start of your education. However, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Anytime, a working age.
Yeah.
So, there is no upper limit.
That's what we like to hear. Right, busted. Myth 5. Employers pay peanuts to apprentices.
Absolutely not. It's a very competitive market, so there may be some employers listening to this call right now go, yes, absolutely. So thanks for that one, Jim.
Yes.
It is a tough employment market, so employers are paying competitive rates. So with any job, there are legal minimum rates of pay. The same applies to apprenticeships, and most employers pay well above the minimum rates to get good people and to encourage people to stay within that organisation as well. So, throughout their career, they will have good rates of pay. With
the focus more so nowadays on the living wage, I think it's really important, like you say, that we're hitting above those targets as they were in that sense. And like I say, it's good to have that open discussion with employers as well.
Yeah, and the other kind of way to look at it as well is, again, I refer back to the compare and contrast. So if you went to college for 2, 3, 5 years, however long, then obviously you're not earning whilst you're going to college. You may have a part-time job just to help yourself sort of through whilst you're studying. And then you've got to then go and find a job. So the apprenticeship in many ways is quicker because you've started.
You're in that.
You're in the job already. You're earning, so you haven't got to think, oh, crikey, how am I going to get the bus to get to college or all those kinds of things, because you're being paid to have those.
Would you say it's more common that apprentices go into a job where they've got their apprenticeship too? Absolutely.
So many employers kind of see it as a way of bringing in fresh new talent. And the mindset from employers' point of view is, I'm bringing on this talent, so I'm bringing them in, I'm training them and supporting them in their career. So once they're qualified, I would like them to stay with me and grow within the organisation. So most organisations view it as a long-term thing. So yes, there's a training element with the apprenticeship, but once the apprenticeship is completed, they would very much like people to stay on and grow that organisation.
That commitment's there from the start. If as an employer, you're putting in this time and energy and money into supporting somebody.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so you're treated in the same way as other employees. So you get holiday pay and all holiday leave and all those kinds of things. So it's you are an employee,
a valued employee as much as anybody. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, that's what we like to hear. So myth 6: companies don't recruit apprentices.
That's absolute rubbish. So you're sort of covering over some of the things that we've ticked off before. So you're getting exactly the same qualification out of an apprenticeship as if you went to a traditional learning establishment such as a college or university. So plus you've got the real working experience and you've got the skills of dealing with different groups of people. So I would suggest that perhaps you're ahead of the rest of the pack because you've already been able to communicate with different kinds of people and work in different environments. So
I want to pick up on the word companies there, because that's also interesting to think of a large-scale company taking on apprenticeships. How does that happen often?
absolutely. So some of the most sought-after ones are with the big employers. So all of the big companies have really fantastic apprenticeship programs. So I would encourage you to have a look at some of those if that's something of interest to you. So they are sought after. So there's companies locally that will have in excess of 600 people apply for an apprenticeship. Because their program is that good.
That's
And it
amazing.
really does set you up for life. So once you've got that apprenticeship under your belt, you really have got the best skills, knowledge and experience gained. So,
And
employers.
you've got that foot in the door already in that way, and it's probably not the
Absolutely.
correct term for it, but
Yeah,
you've got that
it's
start,
true.
haven't
Yep,
you?
absolutely. And there are figures to show that over the lifetime of your career, you will have earned more
Wow.
as an apprentice, because if you think about it, you're earning from the day one.
The get-go. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's been proven that most employees have a higher sort of salary over the course of their working life as an
So it's
apprentice.
like, not only are these myths not true, it's like the opposite.
Yeah,
of
in fact,
actually, isn't it?
yes. So I mean, I'm grateful for this opportunity today to come along and talk about this, because it's important that people know the facts.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you get these ideas so installed from such an early age as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of negative. So to dispel, apprenticeships are great, not for everybody, but at least
But for those
consider
that
the
they are.
options.
So last myth now, apprenticeships are only offered for cheap labour.
No, again, absolutely not. So the employers, it costs the employers quite a lot of time and money to put these apprenticeships on. So if they're going to put their name to it, then they want it to be right, because it's their reputation as well. So absolutely not. It's a really worthwhile qualification. It's great for employers. It's great for employees.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you for coming on and joining me today. It's been lovely.
Happy
Like I
to.
say, we've debunked these.
We
That's
have.
it.
We've
That's
smashed
it.
it.
Smash these myths. They're gone. They're out. Nobody's going to believe them anymore. Once we
Brilliant.
put the word on the street, don't you worry about it. No, Jill, thank you for coming on today. Jill there from National Careers Service. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
So cybersecurity, it's a very investigative career, so you have to be a Sherlock Holmes, like the 999 sort of responders for computers. I'm Tamsin, I'm 20 years old and I'm a cybersecurity apprentice. So I get up in the morning really early, usually about 6.
Good boy, so handsome.
Because I take so long to do my makeup, I'm usually always late for my bus. So the bus ride into work usually takes about 20 minutes, always scraping onto the time when I'm supposed to be in. So the reason I picked an apprenticeship is actually just because I really wanted to go to university. So when I got the offer that I could not only go to university, get a degree, but also work, and it was everything that I really wanted to spend the next 3 years doing. I've always been interested in computer science just because I think computers are really fun and cool, and they've been an integral part of my life since I was about 8 when I got my first laptop. So when I did computer science GCSE, I was honestly really surprised at how easy I found some of the modules and how much I enjoyed doing it. The first thing that I do is go and check what's happened over the last week and what's happened over the night when everyone's been asleep. A lot of the time the hackers are awake, so I look at the threats that have occurred overnight, and hopefully nothing has, which means I can get on with my normal day-to-day job. So we can see that the United States is really red, and that's because they've actually submitted the most samples today. Most of them have been Trojans, and Trojans are one of the biggest concerns that we have. They can completely devastate a system or a computer. So cybersecurity is the art of protecting things. It's a very investigative career, sometimes even creating threats so you know how to patch against them. I think a lot of people think that cybersecurity and most STEM careers in general are really male dominated, but I think it's really important to look back through history and all of the women at NASA who sent astronauts to the moon, and me being here is amplifying my voice is what means that nowadays we see a lot more women and a lot more young girls in this industry and in this career. My ultimate goal is to become a chief technical officer. It's one of the highest sort of technical ranks. I think there are a lot of stereotypes about apprenticeships, and a lot of people would probably think that if someone was doing an apprenticeship, they were doing something manual like bricklaying or construction. So it's really interesting and really important to note that we have degree apprenticeships available like the one I'm doing, where I finish with a bachelor's degree of science.
The The National Careers Service provides high-quality, free and impartial information, advice and guidance to help citizens make decisions on learning, training and work. It is available to all adults in England over the age of 13. Our universal service is primarily for citizens who need somewhere to go that can provide comprehensive careers information, advice or guidance for themselves. Additional users of our service are people who use it to support others. This includes professional careers advisors and intermediaries, such as employers, teachers and parents. Our service is designed to enable users to self-serve as much as possible. However, some of our users need more intensive support. For self-service, our intuitive digital tools and smart use of data enable them to get a personalised service. Professional careers advisors will help provide users with additional advice and guidance specific to their personal circumstances. If you want any more information about the National Careers Service, please get in touch.
Hi, I'm Bill Raj. I'm an apprentice assistant buyer. I'm 19 years old. I live in Coventry and I work for Severn Trent. So on a normal work day, get up, have a shower, get dressed, have a bit of breakfast, scroll on my phone. I work in the procurement department in a section called Asset Maintenance Services. We source out goods and services to make sure that the business runs its daily operations. So an average week of me being an apprentice, I have a study day where I do my online learning. I go into different sites and actually looking at what we need to buy. So looking at the different parts, speaking to the operational team.
You got it? Yeah. See these ones now?
We have over 8 million customers and we supply them clean drinking water. How tight does it have to be? I wanted to do an apprenticeship because I knew that there's plenty of opportunities that you get offered. You get to speak to internal employees, you get to speak to different organisations, different companies. An apprenticeship is where you have a job, but you're also gaining a qualification on the side of doing a job. Every day is never the same. You get to go out to different sites, but alongside that I'm doing my study work, stuff like going on different training courses, develop my skills. The biggest surprise of being an apprentice is how involved you get. You're not treated as a student, you get treated as a full-time employee. You have a lot of responsibility, which is a fun thing because you get hands-on experience, you get to go on site tours. I really love nature and I've visited places like Ben Nevis, Mount Snowdon. One of the great things about working for Severn Trent Water, I'm not stuck in an office environment. One of the things that I look towards the future is potentially look after my own contracts. It sets myself goals and objectives that I want to reach. There's a common misconception that the only way to get a job in the future is to go into further education and then apply for a bunch of jobs until you land one. And that's not the case. People should really understand the different routes to get to where they want to be in the future. I feel as I've boosted my confidence skills. I've grown as a person from when I started to where I am now at my apprenticeship scheme.
Brilliant stuff there. Big thank you to Henry and Jill for busting those myths there a minute ago as well. And I really enjoyed those sort of day in the life, in the shoes of those case studies there, sort of showcasing the apprentices in action, which I think is really important. It kind of just shows you, doesn't it, how successful apprenticeship can be. And just as well, like how it's just great how you can sort of learn on the job and get that qualification. Right, let's move on now, where I'm going to be joined by my next guest, who is Tom Lowe, who works for the Freight Forward and is also the proud winner of the BIFA Freight Service Apprentice of the Year. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, yeah, pleasure to be here.
Brilliant stuff. So firstly, Tom, massive congratulations on your award, Apprentice of the Year for the Freight Service. How was that? Was that a surprise?
Honestly, yeah. So I applied last year for the Freight Service Award as well and made the final 5 at that time. And yeah, I didn't get that award, which is a bit of a obviously let down for myself, but I spoke to the judges of that year, and they told me to reapply. And to get it this year was just amazing feeling, and yeah, I'm so happy.
We see some pictures here as well of you sort of in action on the night. I bet it was just a real sort of honour, wasn't it? It must be such a great feeling.
Yeah, no, it was really great, and to feel that I've actually pushed myself to go for it again was, I think, even better.
Fantastic. So, Tom, can you tell us a little bit about your role, please?
So I am in the projects department of OIA Global. I've been there since December of 2020, so I went right through the pandemic. And yeah, so I deal with big heavy project cargo, and I work with a very, very fantastic team. And yeah, so I deal with a lot of key accounts for us, for our company as well, and it's been great so far.
Brilliant. And what about the training that you've received? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So it was a very virtual aspect of the training, because obviously during COVID, but I had a great teacher of Natasha Moore, who was with CTEC, and she put me through my paces, and it was such great learning experience, and especially with working on the job as well with decent hours, and I could do it all really on the go, and to feel like I finished my apprenticeship 3 months early was just even better. So it was an absolutely amazing learning experience.
Brilliant. And let's take things sort of right back to the beginning, Tom. What made you sort of decide to take on an apprenticeship in the first place?
So I was actually a fully qualified chef before I went into freight forwarding, and when I was a chef, it was before the pandemic. It wasn't really in the end what I wanted to do, so I actually applied for a job to be a purchasing assistant for a food procurement company, and it was going all well until COVID hit, and I was put on furlough for quite a while, and in the end made redundant. So obviously that was a bit of a obviously not a great thing to hear. But I reached out to Carl because I was part of the Young Freight Forwarders Network at the time, so I could sort of keep in the industry whilst during the pandemic and on furlough. And when I reached out to Carl to say if he could send all of the Young Freight Forwarders stuff to my personal account, he obviously said, "Oh, that's quite a shame, but this company is looking for young people. Would you be interested?" And I obviously said, absolutely. So I sent my CV off, and OIA Global came calling and said, "Would you be interested in the apprenticeship?" And I thought to myself, I don't really know much else about the industry of freight forwarding, so I thought, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And about 2 years later, here I am.
And now you've got a nice trophy with your name on. What could you want? Hey, let's talk about the future as well. What's that looking like for you? What are your plans?
So right now I'm actually going to more of a commercial based role. So I'm learning a bit more about what my company's doing, how we're doing different things. And I kind of like to move up the ladder to sort of get a supervisor role, control my own team, and just, better my career.
Fantastic stuff there. And it just sounds like it's been a very positive experience for you. I presume you would recommend an apprenticeship to other people out there as well?
Absolutely. It's something I'll never regret taking. And for anyone who's looking to either go to college, university, and has the choice of an apprenticeship, I would really consider them taking that offer, because it's working whilst getting paid at the same time, and it's just such a great experience.
Brilliant stuff. Tom, it's been fantastic to chat with you and hear all about your achievements. Best of luck for everything in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, I am very pleased to be joined by my next guest, Carl Hobbis, who is the Executive Director at the British International Freight Association. Carl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure. Good to be here.
Brilliant. Now, the British International Freight Association is committed to encouraging the recruitment of apprentices to its members. How important is this to secure the future of the industry?
It's absolutely vital. We've seen through the pandemic the importance of logistics and the supply chain sector in keeping Britain and supermarkets and all things like that running and not running out of product in stores. But equally, it's also been an industry that's been crying out for an influx of young people as well over a few years, just aging workforces and so on. And at BIFA, we've got 1,500 members, like Tom's company, like Sarah's company, who are, those companies are employing young people, but we need more young people to join the sector. So it's absolutely vital. And also most of our members are small and medium enterprises, and I would sort of, we fall into that category ourselves, and I would sort of say that to any SME who's watching this today, to sort of go for it. Actually, we've just took our first apprentice on in September, and the sort of process of getting a digital account and all that is not as bad as people might think it should be. So actually, it's quite simple. But we just generally need a lot more young people in the industry as a whole in various roles. Like our apprentice, for example, is not moving cargo around the world like Tom is. She's doing public relations and communications, and there's lots of different roles like that within the logistics sector, finance, HR, marketing, and so on. So.
Okay, let's talk a bit about some of those opportunities. Can you tell us a little bit more sort of in depth about what opportunities there are specifically available within the industry?
Yeah, well, the logistics apprenticeships fall under the transport and logistics group, and there's I think 37 when I looked on Friday standards available for delivery, but reality is that there's about 11 relevant ones ranging from driving, supply chain, warehousing. Freight forwarding is the one we particularly developed with a group of employers and a trailblazer, at which Tom did. But the good thing is that there's a different range of levels. So there's level 2 apprenticeships, level 3 apprenticeships, and there's even 3 degree apprenticeships as well, mainly in the supply chain sector. So there should be something for everyone as well. If not going to uni is what people don't want to do, So yeah, and the good thing about logistics is that if you're somebody who just wants to leave school or college, and then it's a perfect sector to get into, really as well. We just need more young people, and there's also a campaign at the moment called Generation Logistics to promote the sector as well. That's government backed. So great. And we've talked a lot today about the sort of benefits of apprenticeships for the employees. So as an employer, what would you say are some of the benefits of recruiting via apprenticeships? I think young people just bring a fresh dynamic to any business. We've seen it ourselves with our own apprentice and people like Tom. They bring youthful thought. They can bring a lot to the more experienced people in the industry as well. And I always talk to them about picking their brains. But at the end of the day, the current generation of young people are just brought up in a digital world that people like me wasn't, even though we were trying to get with it. But so I think it's just they can bring so much to a business. Why wouldn't you go for it and employ a young person? To me, I just don't see why you wouldn't do it.
Exactly. And as sort of an executive director, why do you think it's important to show appreciation with the BIFA Apprentice of the Year Awards?
It's really important because we had record entries. Tom was the winner, and but we had 21 applicants in the category that he won, and the ones that got to the final were brilliant, but the ones that didn't even make it were also brilliant. But it's important to showcase the good work and the contribution they're making to the sector. We're very proud of the young people that apply. We're very proud that the ones that get to the final, but equally, everybody that applies goes through that process and it's healthy for them. So we'll continue to promote these awards. We also have another one that's called Young Freight Forwarder of the Year, and we had even more into that, which is for generally people with a bit more experience in the industry. And we actually want more people to apply because we know there's brilliant young people out there. Tom mentioned the network that he's part of that I set up, and I come across loads of people week in, week out that are really good as well. So I think we'll keep showcasing all the great work that young people are doing and bringing to the industry, and we'll keep doing that all the time, you know. And Tom was obviously a worthy winner as well. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just nice, isn't it, just to have a little bit of recognition for all the hard work that goes on as well.
Absolutely.
Are the nominations open for this year's awards yet?
No, we will be launching them in mid-June, which it's our normal timing for our awards. And there's an exhibition that is held in June at the National Exhibition Centre called Multimodal, and that's at that event where we launch our awards and the process and the timings for this year's competition. And then the event is always the third Thursday in January, which hence why it's just happened.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff there. And so sort of on a final note, I guess just sort of repeating what we've said a little bit there, but just touching on the fact that as an employer, this is such a beneficial thing for both yourself and the employee. And I guess the word of getting it out there for you today is you just want more people to apply and get involved.
Yeah, whilst they say we're an employer ourselves, but we're actually the trade association for the freight forwarding logistics industry, or one of the trade associations, of which Tom's company and Sarah's company are members. So we're sort of big advocates and for the industry as a whole, and we're the ones that sort of lobby and all that sort of stuff and push for young people. So yeah, we just want to see more. There's so much room, and it's a great industry to be in, and the young people that once they're in it, they're really enjoying it. I see this every week when I meet them in the role I do, and we just need more of them. So it's yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really positive. Carl, big thank you for joining us today. It's great to hear all of the support on offer at BIFA, and to hear about you being such a sort of about all your inclusive recruitment as well. It's great stuff. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us today. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. Right, moving on next, I am going to be joined by Sarah Coates from the Good Logistics Group. She is the Learning and Development Advisor. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for joining us. Now, Sarah, you are the Learning and Development Advisor for Good Logistics Group. What would you say, are the benefits of recruiting through apprenticeships?
The benefits of recruiting through the apprenticeship for us, we're a small to medium-sized enterprise, so we are a levy-paying employer. So that means 0.5% of our pay bill goes into the apprenticeship levy, and if we don't utilise that, that does actually go back to the government. So it's a government initiative that was brought in 2015, and we utilise that, and it's just fantastic because we're able, as Carl has said, to bring in young talented people, and we also use it for upskilling some of our current employees as well, so we can really grow our talent and focus on specific roles such as the freight forwarding, but we also utilize it in other areas of the business. So we're in the logistics sector, but we do actually use the apprenticeships across many other areas of the business, including accounts and not HR, but it's something that we're looking to the future, but customer service in the warehouse. So we do have, so it just bringing those people in, being able to skill them, being able to give them a recognised qualification. So for us, it sits with that really well with our values, that we value people, we want to train people, and we want people to be the best they can be. So that's how we see the benefits really of the apprenticeship scheme, that we can bring in that new talent, we can train them, we can give them a qualification and make them the best they can be, whilst then helping us to become, you know, we have a motivated and dedicated workforce.
And for anybody who's maybe watching today and thinking, you know, I would like to give this a go, could you sort of give us an idea of the process of an apprenticeship?
Yeah, certainly. So with the apprenticeship, there's many different ways that a company may recruit and look for apprentices. I know that for me, first of all, as an employer, it's really important to build a good working relationship with the training provider, that they align to our values and our vision. So that's key. So once we have the training provider on board, it's then a case of then finding the apprentices, which we may be doing through the website advertising, we might do through referrals. We do a lot of career activity events. So it might be through one of our career fairs that we're attending nationally, or it might be through work experience that we're giving somebody the opportunity and they would say, oh, well, actually, I'm finishing school, would you consider me for an apprentice? So there are many ways that people, the process of, so once then they're on board and they've joined us, obviously we've identified the role within the business where we need the apprentice, we'd take the advertisement, we'd also look at referrals as well, and then moving forwards as well, we're also looking to work with BIFA on the Freight Development Pathway, which is a new initiative to bring entry level into a business. So again, then we would move them forward onto an apprenticeship. And then, so it's about identifying the role, recruiting for that role, getting the right person on board, and then introducing them to that training provider, and then their journey starts. And, you know, it's literally then, once they're on board, they'll be dedicated to a module a month, and which they have to showcase. And then the whole journey is then right through to the endpoint assessment. And I'm pleased to say that our apprentices have either been in work, so continued in work, or been offered an opportunity of a job as well. So it's a fantastic scheme, really.
Brilliant. We love the positive outcome there. Love that. What other opportunities are there for apprenticeships sort of in the transport and logistics?
Okay, so at the moment, where we are at Good Logistics, we have apprentices currently in our sales area, customer service, freight forwarding, accounts, and warehousing. And like Carla said, we have these from level 2 all the way to level 7. So we currently have somebody in our accounts department that's currently doing their accountancy qualification, well, to become an accountant, a fully fledged accountant at level 7. So, you know, it's fantastic that we are able to offer these. We are looking to grow, so into maybe look on taking board somebody in IT as an apprentice, and possibly, you know, we're looking to upskill somebody in our credit control because they can do an advanced qualification. So I think there's a vast array that, yes, it's great to bring on new talent, but you can also use it for upskilling as well within the business, which is a great thing a business can do. So I think there's lots of opportunities. I think, like, there's so many different standards out there that you can apply it to your business. And I think it's just a case of getting the right training provider that provides that standard so that you can deliver it, and you can put employees and new apprentices on that for you, for a business.
That's the great thing about it, isn't it? That the fact that there's so much opportunity in so many different departments, that there's something there for everyone, really, if
Absolutely.
that's what you're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, as well, it must be great to see apprentices going through their journey and achieving. We love a success story here. Is there any other sort of positive stories you're able to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see, and I work very closely with the apprentices during their journey, and it's great to see them succeed at the end. But it's there, we're there along their journey, and you can see how hard they work, how dedicated they are, and just to share their success. And we do our internal blogs, and it's the whole support of the company behind the apprentices to do well when they come to the endpoint assessment, and their passion. And when we had a colleague recently who attended the BIF Awards, when Tom he won his award, and my colleague, she got a special recognition, which was fantastic to share that moment with her. But when she walked back into the office on Monday morning, just the cheers was just fantastic to celebrate her success. So yes, it's just so nice to see and support, and all the managers giving them giving the apprentices the support that they need to do well, so that they can exceed and be the best they can be in the role they're in.
Yeah, that's the great thing. I think we've sort of understood that today, that it's a real sort of win-win opportunity for both the apprentices and the employers as well. It's a really positive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's just a fun, and it doesn't work out for everybody. Don't get me wrong, because it's hard work and dedication, but it's about having a go, getting involved. Managers will support you, the business will support you, and at the end of the day, everybody wants you to do well. So like you say, Ross, it's a win-win situation, really.
It is. Brilliant stuff. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today and for sort of sharing all that information. It's been really helpful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Great. And that is basically it from us today. If you would like to catch up on anything you have seen from today, remember you can rewatch all of CTech Plus's content on their YouTube channel. All you need to do is search CTech Plus or Plus on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe whilst you're there. Go on, click the button. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again very soon. Goodbye.